Hello everyone and welcome for a new tutorial with me, Tommy Bonte. This time I will focus on copying Lego packaging. For this assignment I have chosen this Lego package and I will try to copy it inside Photoshop. And just for the sake of an educational use, nothing else. Simply because the photos on the Lego packaging is fantastic, and you can really see how backgrounds and things like water and sky has simply been added in the purpose of enhancing the products from Lego. So I will try to recreate this image today, and hopefully you will be able to download the photos I've used to create this image from my site later. And if anyone from Lego is watching, I want you to know that I would use this that I use this very respectful, and I hope you're okay with it. And if you're not okay, please tell me. Um, so let's begin. The front of this package has a specific value, so I will type in that value when I'm creating my new image. So earlier this day we were actually doing this assignment during a class. The image should be 154 times 139 millimeters, and it should have a resolution of 300 pixels per inch. We will work in RGB color mode, 8-bit 8-bit color with a white background, and we were using the color profile sRGB, square pixel aspect ratio. So let's begin. Here's the document. From the original package, you can see there is some kind of platform that the car is standing on. There is some grass and there is some cracks in this platform. I've took a photo a long time ago when I was living in Karlstad on a stone. So I will use this stone and place this along the car. So I choose this photo from my folder. No, not this one. It's this one. Okay. So here it is. We also made this earlier during the day. Let's see if I can jump back to my old values, or let's do it like this. I jump back to the folder of this, and I will remove the metadata. So now the file will work from default. Take open again, choose the stone image. There we go. Okay, so what I want to do with this raw image is simply to enhance the edge of the cracks. So I will first and foremost use a low frequency sharpen to reduce the amount and increase the radius. It will also reduce the detail and increase the masking. So if I hold down the Alt key or Option key on my Mac, I can see that the white areas will have more sharpen to them, and the black area will be masked away. I think I will increase the radius a bit. I go back to masking, and here I can see that the edge there will be a sharpened edge. I will not take care of any noise at this point. Otherwise, we have to make this tutorial a bit short. We cannot have it too long, I think. So I cannot be too picky. Okay. What I really want to do, though, is to take a look at this underlink. So I click this. I observe that the color space is sRGB, 8-bit channel, and I want to open this in Photoshop as a smart object. Okay, and of course I always click these two checkboxes. I seldom leave this unmarked for any raw image, and that is just a way for me to be consequent. Okay, so let's open the object. I duplicate this image into our first image. I can do that by dragging the layer and hand it over to this point, or I take Command Z to regret this or to undo this. I can also right click and duplicate the layer and choose my destination. Go for Untitled 1, press OK. So there it is. Why so big, you say? Yeah, because in this original we are zooming in a 33% scale. If I go for 50 and even 66.7, you see it's much bigger. Okay, so I cross this one and I say don't save. This is a smart object, so if I double click this thumbnail, I will walk right back into the raw editor. Okay. What I will do next is to open up my Lego image. So I will back up a bit and I choose the Lego image. What I want to make clear now is that I will not take any gray balance or make the image enhancements in color right away. What I will do now as a first step is to try to have a good contrast between the objects and the background. So first I go for the lens correction tab. I fill this in. I also want to take a look at the basic tab. And now I will, let's see now. Isn't there any, there's clarity. So I take down the clarity a bit and check out now how the texture in the cloth are being softened. I think I reduced the texture some as well. I'll increase the whites. There is a lot better contrast between the shadows and the parts of the car. Let's see what happens if I do like this. Yes, some of these parts here are being more separated. I also increase the highlights here, I think. What happens if I go for this contrast now? Then it's a bit dull, maybe. And now let's increase the exposure some. There we go. Okay. So I'll think this is set, and if I've done these settings once, they should be the same for this import. So I just choose open object, and now I'll make no color corrections. I just make corrections to separate these objects onto the background, because now I want to make great selections. I want to make masks in this image. So what will I use? Because the alternatives are so many. And you know, inside Photoshop 2020 you have a new feature. You have this object selection tool, and I mean, it's quite cool. Sometimes I think it makes wonders, and sometimes it does not work great at all. In this case, it's actually not that bad, but I have another feature. Let's go for select focus area, and now it will automatically choose the focus range. Look at the canoe, it's all gone. But maybe you see I have a plus brush here, and if I swipe it over the canoe, let's see what happens. Yeah, the canoe is back. Okay, maybe some there was no canoe there. Okay, and if I hold down my Alt or Option key, I have the minus brush. Let's see what happens there. Okay, great. I go under the car. Also a great work, and I think I'm fine with this. Okay, so let's work out some selection, and I like the polygonal lasso. That's one of my favorites. And please don't judge me by my by my selection or my markings this time, because now I'm trying to make it in a fast pace, so I will be able to show you guys this assignment a bit quicker than I usually do. So there's a frog here, and I'll try to make that go away as well. And please take a look at the reference image again, because as you can see, there are some parts of the canoe that is really just covered by water, and some parts of the car is not so dependent of good selection as well. So maybe it isn't that uh, important as we might think. So this looks good. This as well. Forward here. I think this should be removed. Okay, this might have been a bit picky than I need to, but I make this great then. This looked a bit jagged, but why not? Let's take care of this as well. So this is the parts between the canoe and the paddle. I actually don't know how much wonder the smart selection would do. maybe wrong of me to not use it, but as I said, the polygonal lasso works quite well for me, and so I think I will stick with it. Of course, we could do rounded shapes with the pen or elliptical selection, but yeah, I'm stubborn, no. Okay, so that looks fine. It's okay. I think we can walk with that. All right, so the selection is done. Let's just remove the color checker. So there we go. And you make a layer mask in the middle of the layers panel in the bottom. Click this one. Okay. So here's the Lego image. I'll go for the I call it the hamburger icon, but it's also the list button. And let's go for duplicate layer, and I go for the untitled one. Okay. So here it is. Here's the car and the canoe and the frog. Now I have a bit better orientation on how big things should be. So maybe I can shrink this and shrink the stone to make it come together. But first let's save this. So I won't lose anything. I just choose to save it on my computer. Today's date. Go. Okay. So if I look back to the image from Acrobat, I can see that this edge goes a bit diagonal from the right bottom corner to the left top corner. So that's how I will orientate this stone image. So a bit fast maybe. Okay, I'll select the stone layer and I press Command T on my Mac, Control T on my PC, and for Windows 2020 there's no proportional scaling. If you hold Shift, the proportional scaling is active right away. So I think maybe this could work. Yeah, it'll do. Okay, so let's name this as well. And now I would like to have 3 images because I think these are working too tight together. I want to separate them a bit. So what I will do is I will copy this layer, but notice if I do like this, if I press Command G and make a copy, and I'll separate these two so we can see what happens. I'll double click the image, I make a fast adjustment, I press OK, and now see that both of the raw images are changing. I don't want that to happen. I want only one image to be referred to that link. So I'll press Command Z. Not that, okay. Command Z Alt, is it? Okay. And instead of making a normal copy, I'll right click this layer and I choose new smart object via copy. So now if I make a change to this image, it will only be a change for this smart object. All right. So now I'll have two images of this canoe trip. I'll make a third new smart object via copy. I'll group these. I'll hold down my shift key and click the last one. I press Command G for group, and I'll name this Lego images. I'll rename these images to car, canoe, and frog. I'll hide these upper ones first. So this is the car. I'll mark that one and I move it so I can select with a normal lasso the canoe and the frog. And with this selection, I'll select the layer mask for the car. I only have gray and white in my fore and background color, so I press D for default colors. Black is my background color, layer mask still selected, and now I fill the selection with black layer mask color by pressing Command Backspace. Deselect with Command D. So now for this layer it says canoe, so I'll reveal it, and now it is of course relevant for me to make a selection of the car, mark the layer mask, fill it with black color, press Command D to deselect. I'll move it up a bit more, and I also remove the frog with just a normal ellipse. Press this and Command. Okay. And then the last, only the frog is left. So let's hide these two. I select the car, select the layer mask, press Command Backspace, Command D to deselect. I'll move in the canoe, select it with my lasso. I select the layer mask frog and press Command Backspace to fill this selection with black. Command D to deselect. Okay, so everyone's at the party. I select the canoe to give it a better disposition. I select the car, and the frog could be maybe here. The car is a bit too big, of course. If I look on the reference package, it's not too far from the right, and it has only a little bit to the left. So let's take this into reference. I press Command T when I have this layer selected. And as you can see, the bounding box to this layer still is covering the whole image. So I press Command Dash to zoom out, and I hold down the Alt key to do this from the middle. Okay, so now I think the size for the car is a bit better. So for the canoe, a little bit over the middle of the package, and the paddle is almost in line with the wheel. My image differs a bit from the Lego image, of course, so I have to take that into consideration. So I select the canoe layer, and I press Command T to get this bounding box. I hold down the Alt/Option key, and then I shrink it a bit. So a bit over the middle, paddle should be nearby the tire. Okay, something like that. And here's the frog. Let's see how, yeah, not that big, just shrink it a bit maybe. Okay, so everyone's in place. I think I minimized the Lego image folder a bit, and then I go for File, Open, and now I will have my own images, some help from my old images again. This is a very nice image of a tree in the Lake Fryken in Sunne. A bit outside Sunne. This area is called Rottneros. I will do nothing. I will not do too much with this image. I think I'll leave it just as it is. I will just do these two parts. I could actually make a split toning because I know that the Lego water is a bit aqueous in the color. So I could change the hue a bit and saturate the water to make it a bit Lego-ish. Change the saturation here as well, and that will do. Let's open this object. Of course, the water is a bit wavish here. So I need to create a wavy simulation. Let's go back to Photoshop. And under Filter, you have Liquify. Wow, you can do so much with Liquify. I think I spent most of my time during some old classes of mine just using Liquify and manipulating images. So what we will look to in this tutorial is simply swirl. We will swirl this water so it looks like a wave. To adjust the brush size to the swirl, I can hold down the Control and Alt/Option key on a Mac, press down my left mouse button and drag the mouse to the left and the right to make this bigger / smaller. For PC, you use the Alt key. You press the Alt key and you press the right mouse button to do the same with the brush. So I swirl the water to get a wave, and if I want to change the direction, I hold down the Alt key, press to swirl. Maybe a bit too much. So this is okay. And this is okay. Liquify is placed underneath the smart object, and now I will send this as a duplicate to Canoe Trip. Okay, and yeah, there it is. I will name this water, and I think I will just press this so I don't have to see the filter in my layer. Okay, so here's some wavy water. What I want to do now is to just relax the opacity a bit, and when I do that I can see my canoe and car and stone again. And what I want to do now is um, or maybe not, because I think the streamlined shapes are quite well, but if I want to rotate a bit, I can press Command T, press OK, because now the liquefy won't be simulated when I rotate this with Command T, and I rotate this a bit and press enter. So now the liquefy will be applied again. Maybe it's even better now. Okay, so let's go with that. I want the water to go nearby the edge of this stone. Let's take a look at the reference. As you can see, the water is nearby the edge, and there are also some stones nearby to it. So I'll think I just use a normal lasso to go nearby the edge like this, and then I will go to the let's hold down the space key so I can see what I have here. Then I go to the right and to the left and let go of the mouse button right about here. Maybe I want to remove a bit more here, so I hold down my Alt key, press, and go with it here. Okay, so that's fine. I think I'm happy with that. I'll press the layer mask key in the middle of the bottom of the layer, and there we go. My girlfriend is making Friday snacks. So here's the water. Let's push it up to 100% in opacity again, and I will lay this beneath the Lego folder. And watch this. If you put this over Lego images folder, it will dive down into the Lego images folder. You need to make sure that there is only one line between the folder and the stone layer. There it is. Okay, quite good so far. Now I think I want to have some stones into this image. So I go for File, I will choose Place Embedded and go up a step, Pixabay, and this is the image from Pixabay, so whoever feels that this should not be used in this educational purpose, please tell me and I will remove this video, remake it, and use other stones or what I can get a hold of. This stone image is, oh, I pressed escape, so I thought it would be back, but okay. Place embedded, stones, place. All right, I press enter now instead. So this edge is about a straight line, but we don't want this so straight line, so it's this straight. We want the edge of stones now. I'll hide the canoe trip image just a bit, and what I want to do now is to choose a line here to walk from and to mask, and I think I will go for about here, something like this, into this edge. And I think I will be a bit more careful when I do this when I do this selection now this time. So I will choose the pen, and I'll think I start over here, and I can honestly say that the pen is probably one of my selection favorites when it comes to quality, but when it comes to time, the pen is useless. What it gives you is perfect lines. So if you're looking for really crispy edges, nice round edges, you should use the pen. And the pen is also perfect for making vector masks that you can also use as clipping mask for old rips and things like that. Okay, so this is not as picky as I intend to be with the pen, but it's much better than using the lasso that I used during my class today. It's all about how you master the pen and how you are used to it, I think. Some see the pen as a small eternity. I see it as an advancement if it's if it's these kinds of images it's come to. Okay, here we go. Let's wrap this up. So I choose paths. Here's my working path, and I can, if I want to save this one, I need to rename it, or I simply just double click and press OK. Now it's saved. I can always use my own names, of course. And if I want a selection from this path, I need to hold down my command key and press this path. I go to layers. I have my stones layer, and I'll press the layer mask. So here's some stones, and I place them under the water. I'll press the V key for victory or for move. I don't know how that makes sense, but there it is. Command T to transform these stones. Maybe they should be here. I press enter, and maybe now I want some more stones so I can fill out this part as well. So I press command J, or I can hold down, move it to the new layer button, let go, and I have the same copy as if I would press command J. Okay, so I'll remove this out, or move this out, press command T to transform it, and I think I do something like this. I think we have it there. I press enter. Okay, and then I'll have the car and canoe back. So the car is standing on stones. I will take a look at the reference. Maybe not that much stones then. So let's go back here and I'll move down the stones a bit. This. Then I have these stones. It should be like this. I feel like the stone should be a bit more moved upwards. and maybe also rotated back. Okay, so press enter. Let's see what the frog is standing on. Okay. So you have your own stone there, but you're not standing on it. Let me help you. So I go for quick selection tool. Will this... okay. I press Command D to deselect. Now let's see. There's the stone. So I choose this layer, and now I will probably have the right stone. I press down the Alt key. So I have this stone selected. There's the water. Now I can use my brush, just a simple brush. These brushes should be here, just a normal hard round brush or soft round brush, doesn't really matter. Bigger size, and I want to stand in the layer mask for water, and I'm going to block this part. Okay, a bit too soft, I think. There we go. Okay, so here's the stone. So the frog has a place to stay on. Maybe not that close to the water. Okay, one more. I want to have the back of the stone cut. So it's a grass field here and the sky. Zoom out, Command O dash, and now I choose the lasso, and I walk with the lasso right in the middle of the front window of the car, up to this point, around the bottom and up again. I select the stone layer and press the layer mask. Okay, maybe, yeah, it's all right. There should be some stones here as well. I can see that. So maybe I could remove some of this part. Stand this layer mask, and black is my foreground color, so that means I will have to press Alt / the Option key and backspace. I'll have some stones, please. So I press Command J, and here are some more stones then, but these stones should be under the big stone. I press Command T. I'll rotate these, and I press down Alt to shrink them into the middle. And I think this is more than enough. I press enter. I want to remove this black line a bit, so I go back to stone layer and press the layer mask. I choose the polygonal lasso, and from here the layer mask selected, black color, foreground color, so I press Alt, backspace. Okay, I'm satisfied. There's some trees in this image, here, and here. There's a fantastic filter in Photoshop for that. So I select the Lego Images folder. I want to make a new layer. Command Shift N as in new, and I name this tree. I go for filter, render, and tree. So what I calculated is that number 3, the ginkgo tree, works well for this kind of Lego trees. And if you don't want to make your own tree by light leaves or branches, you can just randomize and make your own tree here. So I want no clumsy branches here. I just want a round, nice tree. Okay, so this is quite good. I'll think I go with it. Here it is. I'll just place it here, I think. I will copy this, Command G. This should be a bit smaller next to the frog. And I'll press Command J again, and this should be by the car and even smaller. Let's take a look at the reference. Yeah, so it's even maybe far away. Let's flip it horizontal. So as you can see, what I do now is I have the bounding box left for transformation. If I right click, I can flip the image horizontal so it does not look like this tree. Okay? But what the tree does is that it is covering the car, and the car is actually in front of the tree. Now I really have to make sure that I like the disposition of the car, so I will just move it up a bit so it doesn't stand too close to the edge. Now I'm fine, so I will hold down my command key and I press the layer mask for the car. I'll select the 3 layers, press Command G to group them, and I should have waited with the selection now, I see. So I press Command D to deselect, and now I make a layer mask to this folder, trees, and now I'll make the selection of the car. I press down Command and I press the car layer mask. And then I go for the layer mask to the trees folder. I'll choose the brush and I will block the content that reaches the car. And because of my selection, I do not thread into the tree or anything else that is outside of the car. I press Command D. For the tree to the left, I'll think I simply just make an easy brush block, and I think I will use some opacity to see where the edge of the stone is. I'll use the brush to be precise, and then I'll switch the opacity to 100% again. So that's fine. I think that's great. Okay, so we're gonna have. I think I'm not very fond of this line, so I think I'm gonna select my stone again. Press down for the normal lasso. And now let's see if I can make this edge. Okay, there we go. So I just got a text message. Okay. Now I will create the sky, and I think first I will actually group the stones as well. There we go. Stones. So now I will make the sky. I select the background, and yeah, you can make a new layer. You can make a solid color adjustment layer. I think I go with a new layer and just call it sky. I want a blue sky, so I'll go for a blue color, something like this maybe. Blue is my foreground color, so Alt, backspace, and there's the blue sky. Maybe a bit too blue, so I have another blue here. Maybe that's a bit dull, maybe better, I don't know, but let's go with this now. Okay, so I think also maybe the ground is a bit sad. I also have a grass field for this ground. Now when I have the time, maybe we should do that. So let's pick this up. I'll go for File, Open, and Lego, and there's my archive, and here's the grass field. I will do anything more special than remove chromatic aberration and enable the profile corrections, and then open the object. So nothing much. I'll duplicate this layer into the canoe trip image. There we go. Wow, almost like a society in the background. Maybe I should use this instead. Huh. Okay, but this should actually work as a grass field for my stone. So let's see, the grass covers the stone, I think. So what I will do is I use the Smart Selection tool, and now you can see I have the stone covered. I'll reveal the grass image layer again, and now I'll go for the layer mask. There we go. So here's a grass field. Great. Let's just remove this part a bit better. The layer mask for the grass field is selected. Oops. Black is now my foreground color. There we go. Okay, so some grass at some places. Now back to the sky. To make some clouds and to make swirls in the water and everything, I've made some brushes. And to import brushes, you go for brushes and you simply just press the hamburger menu again, and then you make an importation. I have these in my folder. So here is some Lego brushes. I want a cloud. Lego moln. Moln is Swedish for cloud. And I will select my sky layer. I'll choose an adjustment layer and I will go for solid color. I want white to become my solid color. So now the adjustment layers cover everything beneath stones, including the blue sky. So to block this adjustment layer, I need to invert the layer mask so it becomes black, or fill it with black color. You can invert it by pressing Command I. And I'll name these two clouds. If I press the layer mask now, and as you can see, this is actually a cloud brush that I chose earlier. To activate brushes, you can press B as in brush. And if you want to see the brush now, you can go back to the brushes by go to Window and Brushes. So here is my Moln, the cloud brush. And I can also see it by right click on the canvas and down in the bottom. Here are my Lego brushes. Here is also the Moln brush. So I need white color to reveal now in this layer mask. If I press X as in Xavier, I switch between foreground and background color. The opacity is 100%, so that this will become really white. Press Ctrl Alt to reduce the size of my brush. Press down Ctrl Alt on a Mac. Press down the left mouse button and move to the right and the left. It's nice to switch between opacity and size when you use the brushes, because then it feels more randomized and a bit more, how would you say, spontaneous to the eye of the people who is watching. And now I will go to brushes again, and in the brush settings tab I can flip the brush as well, so it switches in the horizontal axis. So I will have a cloud over there as well. Okay, now I want to have some swirls by the canoe as well. I want to have some splashes, and I made pencils for that as well. So the splashes needs to be over the water. So I will take a new solid color layer, white. Okay. Select the layer mask and press Command I. I right click. I'll choose the Lego swirl. And let's resize this a bit. Oops, I pressed, so Command Z. I would like to have some more opacity now. And what I do now is I will try to use my creativity to randomize the size, the opacity, and the rotation for these brushes. That's all, because that's simply everything we need to be a bit creative and to make some nice features when we create this canoe trip image. We'll try to make some variations to the brush. Maybe some less opacity. Oops. So this might take a while. If you're not very fond of watching this and you want to be creative yourself, you maybe need to press forward now, because now I will take a moment to use this pencil. Okay, so first part done. So these are splashes in back of canoe. Then I'm also interested in having splashes in front of the canoe, and then I need to copy this layer and drag it in front of the Lego images folder. And another nice way to make a copy is to hold down the Alt key, press the left mouse button, and just drag the layer up. So now it's a copy. What I will do now is simply to make this black by pressing Alt backspace. So everything is removed, but I have the same white color, and I can switch to in front instead. Select the layer mask and another session of Tommy Creativity Silence. Okay, let's start. If I don't want to press this slider, I can also press the num key buttons. So if I press number 2, it's 20% opacity, number 3 it's 30, 50, for 5, 7, 70%. Just so you know. Okay, so I think I'm closing into the end with the splash. Just want to make some corrections. Done by the frog. Oops. And the last part by these stones. Maybe that should be in the back. Okay. So now I think I'm happy. Nice splashy waves. Besides the waves, so I have the another solid color layer, a white one. Oops, white. Okay. I would like some. This is actually a swirl pencil, so it would say swirl if it would be correct now. This should also say swirl, because this is going to be a splash in back of canoe. And I select the layer mask, I press Command I, and from there I will go and choose the Lego Splash. Wow, this is nice. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so now I'll select white color as a foreground color, and there we have a nice splash. Okay, let's see what we can do with this. And as you can see, I'm changing between front and background color all the time now. And I also want one in front of the canoe. So let's make this layer mask black. Okay, so it looks like we have some nice weather in this stream. Of course, you can always make it better. I know that some of you are just fantastic artists out there, but I think I'm happy with my creation. The water now, it's if I look back to the reference image, it's kind of green, white-ish, not so much dark blackish as mine are. So what I will use to make this linear more is to select the water layer. I will select an adjustment layer called gradient map. Okay, so what does gradient map does? Gradient map looks from the light from dark to light colors, and I will apply this adjustment to just this layer, and I will do that by making a clipping mask of this adjustment layer, pressing this button. There we go, and then I will click this vignette or gradation, if you call it like that. These are the black areas, the dark areas. I will make these dark areas white, and then I will instruct the other areas to become more green-like and more aqueous in color, I think. Ending up all aqueous. Maybe this was too dark. Maybe it should be more whitish, like this. I start with a lighter green and a more dark green like this. Okay. Does this looks okay? Think so. We can work with this. I'll let go of that. Okay, so a nice gradient to the water. For the stones and for the how do you say, for the grass, I want the grass to be more transparent. So I will look it up. Here it is. I select the grass and I'll fix some of the opacity to it. And now I will work with the stones in the same way as the water. So I will actually select the folder stones and I will make a gradient map. I will make a clipping mask, so I can press this button, or I can hold down the Alt key and stand between these two layers and click. So it's on the stones folder. Now I see it passes through everything. Not a good idea then. Should I go down and make it this instead? Hard decision. Okay, so maybe I'm just confused by the blue sky. So the stones are going to be more brownish, I think. So let's give this brown black kind of starting color and set out a lighter color from here and lighter brownish like color and end up with a light color here. Okay. Maybe a bit too dull, maybe a bit too dark. So I will try to find better color for this area. Maybe I can tweak it a bit. Okay, so that's better. Yeah, that'll work. Let's see, take a look at the reference. So there's a lot of detail in this edge, this reference, but I'm okay with it. So what I'm gonna do now is I'll rename this to brownish stones, and this is greenish water. And now I will make some grass for this field. So choose green color, maybe from the trees. Light, nice colors. Okay, let's go for this color. Invert this layer mask by clicking Command I and right-clicking while using brushes. You have Lego grass, that's grass in Swedish. So I'll have some grass here. Just wonderful. Spreading it all over. Okay, so there's the grass. So now I'm becoming picky. Okay, some grass. What we will do now is to make some, let's see, we want to have some cartoonish style to this water and grass. So what we will do now is that we will try to take stones. We want the stones and the water to be cartoonish. So I'll think we use almost everything beside the Lego images. I will select this tree folder. So I'm in the top of the layer hierarchy, and then I press Command Alt or Option Shift E to make a copy of everything. When I've done that, I right click this copy and convert it to Smart Object. And now I want to have a filter in filter gallery called Cutout. So see what happens. Everything becomes a bit cartoonish, and I think that's what I want. I want a cartoonish image, and I want this to be placed underneath Lego images. Okay, so there it is. Maybe the sky isn't very successful being cartoonish, but the water and stones works just fine. So I remove this layer now once I've tested it, and now I think I'll redo this filter. Let's go from here. I remove the sky in the background and the clouds. Then also the Lego images, and the trees also works without a cutout. And also the big stone. So there's also some stones over there. Okay, let's just make it from this. So Command Alt Shift E. I have the new layer and I place it in top. I'll get the trees back, and I can put these just under the Lego images. Filter, name it Cutout, and I make this a smart object, and I say filter gallery, and it's a cutout. Okay. All right. I think that's it. I can change the opacity some to it if we want to have some parts excluded or not as cartoonish. I can see that the grass is maybe nice without some of it, so you can also use the layer mask for the filter, and we can use a normal soft round brush to reveal the grass again, like this. Okay, I think that's better. And we also have the sky in the backgrounds and clouds. Okay, so I think it's time to do the last touch up on the car and the canoe. I think the canoe is quite good actually, so I won't do very much. I have the color checker here, so I'll take the gray balance tool and gray balance it, and I just increase the exposure a bit to this, and yeah, I think it's quite good there. I double click for the car. I'll have the gray balance, and let's increase some contrast. Have some, or maybe, so there we can see now it's the tires are more exposed. I think I actually decrease the contrast a bit instead. And then I think I'm satisfied with that as well. And the frog. So that's just the gray balance, nothing more. Okay. Last touch-ups on the car. I would like some tire tracks on the car, and I can see I have missed this in the mask. There we go. To do the shadows of tires, we can go for brush settings, and I activate the brush to see everything inside here. I will choose a soft round brush, a bit smaller, that fits the tire. And then I go to shape dynamics, and I will use the fade to make the shadow of the tire fade. So when I click here now, oops, I have the layer mask. I need a new filter, or a new layer, of course. So shadow, car tire. Then I press D for default colors, and black is my foreground color, and I drag this out. As you can see, now it's fading out, but it's fading out too soon, so I want to increase the size a bit and the spacing. So increase the spacing and the size a bit more. Now I need to increase the spacing again. Underneath the car as well. But under the car I need no fade. So I go back to the brush settings and press off. I just have a normal shadow. There's a shadow as well. And some shadow. And let's just test the soft light, a bit too weak. Take normal and drag down the opacity a bit maybe. This was really weak. So overlay, not too good. Just make it like this. And some more over here. If I want some more contrast on the car, I could actually go inside the raw converter instead and put some more contrast on it. So I could increase the darks here by making an S curve. Okay. Well, let's check this out. quite okay. The last touch up now will be an frequency separation. Frequency separation is a kind of process where you separate the texture and the color of an image. So if you do that for normal, there are some steps. I have an action inside Photoshop. This is a frequency separation for 8-bit color, and there are some steps, as you can see. So if I press my play button now, I will only take the radius of the unsharpened tool into consideration. I think it's quite good, so I press OK, and then I will have the image layered in frequency separation. One high layer and one low layer. And this is the last thing you do when you do these kinds of images. So here is the color, here is the texture of the image. I think the only thing I'm not really satisfied with here is the grass. I would like to have more. Would like to have a nicer grass and some cracks and maybe some more color inside it. I wonder how I could do that in an efficient and fast way. Let's see if the internet has something to offer. Desert ground. So okay, not as much as what I am looking for. I'll open this in a new tab. So thank you so much for this image in an educational purpose. I'll have this handed inside Photoshop. Now let's see. No, it isn't carried out. I place it. Ah, no. No, it's going a bit too fast. Okay. Let's see where it is. There it is. Okay. Duplicate this layer to the canoe trip. There it is. It's too small, but never mind. I will sheet some. Increase this, even though you never should. Press enter. Move this outside the frequency folder. I throw away this frequency folder. Go down to the stones folder, and I will look for this layer. Okay, so it's beneath the cutout layer now. Okay, it looks better already. So let's try this out. Yeah, I think it made wonders already there. So feels kind of better now. We have the color fill. Maybe I want to put an overlay to this, anything like that. And now, as you can see, this feels much better, even without the cutout. So the image for the car is done. There's the canoe. As a final step, before the frequency separation, we could paint with light. And to do that, I press Command Shift N as in new layer, paint with light, and let's go for the overlay mode, also called täcka över in Swedish, and fill this with overlay neutral color. So now you can see the gray, but if we use black or white, you see it's working with contrast. So now I use white to increase the light. I think I reduced the opacity to 50, and then we can also use black to bounce back some fields. Here we go. Light up this part. This gives some kind of a 3D effect. It works very efficient when you just want some how should you say, fast fast merging of the image, when you want the image to get together in a fast way. There we go. So I have made some paint with lights, and now I will make the frequency separation again. Press play. Okay, and then as you can see, by the high layer we have more sharpen, and if I just make copies to this, I will have more sharpen, just as in this reference. You can see this is very high sharpened, and probably some more time has been spent as well to make the image. But I hope you are satisfied with this tutorial. Oops, forgot one thing, one important thing, of course, and that's the flare. So let's see, render, lens flare. Okay, this layer is empty. I throw this away and I make overlay layer. Let's hide this. Flare, filter render, and lens flare. So okay, here is different kinds of flare. Let's go with this one. Now if I press the move tool, I can also move this. I wanted to go by the car, so I think okay. Let's go with that then. Okay, so there it is. There's the Lego image. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I will try to leave the material to you so you can download it and try it out yourself. Please post in the comments if you have some suggestions for changes or everything. Don't expect too much though, because my time is very limited. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.